Hello guys, hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Maybe this is your first time to pass through here. My name is Aaron Shu and I make videos and content based on life, on inspiration, motivation, and sometimes I talk about disability. Today is one of those days where I am making another disability related video. In this video, I'll be talking about my experiences going through childhood with a disability. My earliest memory is just enjoying life. I used to go on a lot of play dates. I think I was around 3 or 4. Life was really good. It was a very happy childhood. I never really was aware of my disability. I didn't know I was disabled. I never felt I was disabled. Although some part of me was sort of aware that I did things a little bit differently from my friends. Even though I had a wheelchair, I preferred to crawl like on all fours. That's what I did most of the time, especially when I was just playing around the house or in the yard. I would just be on all fours. I remember my grandmother, call her Gogo, she used to knit these things for me that I would put on my knees and on my elbows so that when I'm crawling around the yard, I wouldn't scrape my knees. Everyone else was walking, but then there I was on all fours. It was good times. And then when I wanted to leave maybe the yards, go play next door or any other place, I didn't necessarily use my wheelchair. My mom had bought a small bike for me. I had 3 wheels, one in the front and 2 at the back, and it could accommodate 2 people. One who would be cycling, and the other one could be like a passenger who could sit behind. And I remember it had a little like safety thing so that I wouldn't fall over, and that's how we would get to wherever we wanted to go, be it to the shops or just to go and play by the roadside. So I used to spend the whole day with my friends playing all sorts of games. Even when my friends were playing soccer, somehow I would find a way to integrate myself into the game. Maybe I could play a referee, even from the sidelines, since I couldn't run around in the field, obviously. Or I could keep score, or I could, the little things. They kept me feeling like I was a part of the clan, because actually I really was. If we were not out and about, engaging in physical activities, games and sports, we would be inside the house watching a lot of cartoons. We were not watching the cartoons, we would be watching wrestling. So for the longest time, my life was just all fun and no care in the world, not even a little worry. But then we got older, and time to go to school came, preschool, and all my friends started going to school, and I wasn't going to school. While my friends were in preschool, I would be going around with my mom to see what used to be called educational psychologists, and these guys would assess me and test me to see where I was mentally in terms of my aptitude. And I just remember I used to do that a lot. If I wasn't going around seeing the psychologists and getting assessed, I would be going for physiotherapy. That's when I started noticing that, wait a minute, I am not doing things that my friends are also doing. I'm the only one who has to do this. Why? I think that's when I started asking questions. And thankfully, my mom, she would just find a way to give you information that is correct and precise, but in little sound bites that you could understand. I was aware of my disability at this point, I think, because I remember they used to teach me how to hold a pen, how to hold a pencil. These were things I never knew how to do, and I had to be taught to do those things. So even stuff like sitting up, by myself, and writing, and they just needed to make sure that I was ready for school so that I wouldn't go there and then be overwhelmed. Even though I sort of like now had an understanding of what was going on and why I had to wait a little bit longer to go to school, I was still sad. I remember I would literally sit by our veranda waiting for the other kids to come back so that we could play, and then I remember feeling a little bit sad. My mom tells me I used to ask a lot, like, why am I not going to school? Everyone else is going to school. Why am I stuck home? They then came to a conclusion and the recommendation that the best fit for me was to go to a conventional, regular school rather than a specialized school for the disabled. I still remember that when I got to that school, I didn't go into the classroom straight away. I remember I was sent to what this side they call them special classes. They are for kids with special needs. I mean, those are the terms that people use. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. Maybe classes where they put maybe students who have learning disabilities or mental impairments. But when I got there, I was the only student there who did not have any kind of mental impairment. Everyone else had a mental impairment. We didn't even have regular lessons in that class. What we did more of the artsy kind of stuff. The classes were specialized, really, like I said, for people with learning disabilities and mental impairments. And because I had neither, I didn't really fit very much into it. And the teacher who was responsible for that class was very quick to realize this. And I remember he went to the person who was the head of the school and said, this child he really has is very much capable of going through the regular curriculum. And I this was many years ago, but I still remember that they actually called in all the teachers who had grade 1 classes, and all of them came, and then there was a discussion, and I remember them asking if any of them was willing to have me in their class, and nobody was, which was sad. I understand that it was new territory for people, because like I said before, they said they'd never had a student who used a wheelchair before, so I was the pioneer there. In fact, all the schools that I later went on to in my life, including uni, they all said that I was the first student who used a wheelchair that they ever had. So I was a pioneer throughout primary school, secondary school, high school, even uni. They all said, you're the first student we've ever had who uses a wheelchair. So they had a lot of things to learn, to adjust, to adapt, so that I could be more comfortable and better accommodated there. Yes, half a term I was in that class, and the teachers would get called in, and there would be a lot of questions about can he talk, can he write by himself, does he know how to communicate, will he understand the lessons, will he grasp the material that we'll be teaching. And I remember I used to be tested a lot. Like, they would come in, they'll say, can you write your name, can you copy this, they would ask me questions, just trying to assess how I was. And some of the things I had there, I wish the discussions had been had in private, maybe somewhere where I didn't necessarily hear what they were saying, because it left me with a lot of questions, like wondering what is it exactly about me that makes them feel uncomfortable having me in their classes, because it seemed like all the other kids were going there without any problems whatsoever. Looking back, of course, at it as a grown person, I understand what was going on, but in the mind of a young kid, the only thing that it managed to do was to really confuse me and give me a lot of worry and a lot of concern and a lot of stress. Even when the teacher was responsible for the class realized that the other teachers were not willing to have me in their class, he started teaching me himself the stuff that the other kids in the other classes were learning, so that I could keep up in case someone changed their mind later on and wanted me to be in their class. And thankfully, one teacher, she happens to be one of the best teachers that I've ever had. Her name is Mrs. Lamini. She was the one who said, yeah, I'll have him in my class. Oh man, she was a godsend. I remember the day when she said so, I was so excited. It was really the happiest day of my young life. And the first time I went to a class, oh man, it was like there were a lot of kids, man. I remember there were a lot of them, and I just enjoyed being in with them in their class. So she became my teacher, and well, it was good times. What I loved the most about her is she never made me feel discriminated against, and there was absolutely no stigma, and I wasn't treated any differently from anyone else. I started enjoying life more because of her, and I was performing very well in the class. I guess even at home I also became happier. Less questions for mom, less questions for the family. It was just good times. I was enjoying myself. And I also started making friends from different parts of town, and it was exciting because our life experiences were different. Even the way they behaved, or the things they thought were funny, or the activities that they did to as their hobbies were different from what I was used to, and that whole experience was just amazing, and I loved every minute of it. I obviously wasn't able to fit my whole story into this one video, so I'll be making a second part to this video, and I'll be talking about other experiences and things that I went through as a child with a disability. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it or you learned something, please do give it a like, and also leave a comment in the description below. I would love to engage and connect with you. Remember, your life is a gift. Make it count. See you on the next video.